All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas Podcast, where I'm still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Over there, Nashville, Tennessee, on the Forechecks, Bryan Bastin. Bryan, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, even though I'm in Nashville, home of a SEC school that is not the two-year in a row all-sport SEC champions.
Mm-hmm.
But I am appreciating the plenty of Tennessee Volunteer content that's on ESPN right now. Nobody talk to me at between 10:30 and 11:30 p.m. as I will be reliving like the one or maybe one of the 5 positive Tennessee football memories I have in my life. So now nobody talk to me as I watch them beat Alabama. But other than that, I'm doing real good.
It's quite good. And then, I mean, the NCAA throwing us a bone this week, and everyone, I mean, this is the very Tennessee is back moment where everyone's just like, Tennessee getting away with stuff. Tennessee is getting left off easy. I'm like, this is great. Like, everyone's mad at Tennessee again. When everyone's mad at Tennessee, that means we matter again. So that's a positive. Also here, Jeff Middleton. Jeff, are you still on vacation, or are you back in Nashville?
I am back in Nashville.
Okay.
Let's see. When did I get back? I got back, I guess Sunday, or Saturday night.
I was gonna say I would say Saturday because I remember seeing some of your group chat messages. I think you were back on Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night. Yeah. And then just kind of been relaxing at home, just taking care of my dog this weekend. It's good times.
There you go. What's your dog's name?
Well, I have 2. The one I'm taking care of is a golden retriever. His name is Telly, short for Telecaster.
Okay.
My dad named him. And then my other one is a big old chocolate lab named Murphy.
Okay. I like it.
Tell them I love them.
All very solid here. Speaking of solid, the best Preds offseason moves. Which ones of those have been solid? And we're going to talk a lot of evergreen stuff because we're in the doldrums now of the NHL offseason, and there's not going to be as much popping up here unless teams are just outright cutting folks, surprisingly. But just not a lot of movement I would anticipate at this point. So this is now a time for reflection, because a lot's happened and a lot of movements taken place, a lot of coaching changes, GM changes, all that and more. And I wonder, when we do this from a Predators perspective, I want to start here. The best Preds offseason move thus far, when you look at the full scope of what John Hines / Barry Trotz has done since the last game of the Predators season this year, Bryan, what do you think has been the actual best move that they have made?
I'm going to say, like, I'm a big fan of some of the free agent stuff that's been done, but I think that not having any issue in getting business done and re-signing both Cody Glass and Alex Carrier, $2.5 million each. These are guys that I think both had very strong cases to go to arbitration to try and get some more money. But they didn't. And, I think Cody Glass has a 2-year deal. I believe that Carrier's is just a 1-year deal, and both players will be unrestricted free agents. Or actually, Cody Glass will be arbitration eligible, but Alex Carrier will be an unrestricted free agent. And so Predators took care of business. They've almost had a guy go to arbitration, I think, almost every year the past 3-4 years. Looking back at, guys like Dante Fabro, Colton Sissons, Rocco Grimaldi. Colton Sisson's still getting one of the funniest contracts I've ever seen in the NHL. Just that was like 8 years for like $2.3 million or something. Just a very weird deal for that kind of a player, but that's our Colton Sissons. But yeah, I like that a lot. And I'm going to say this next part very carefully. I am very glad that Nashville avoided having to deal with a player controversy this week. With Alex Galchenyuk. So that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, I mean, even the Matt Duchene stuff that popped up immediately, and all Preds fans jumped on that with a certain quote of, just that was no ridiculous. Love lost there.
That was ridiculous. I couldn't stand that. That was so dumb. People being outraged.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, clarify.
People being outraged because Matt Duchene hasn't been on any good teams that actually contended for a Stanley Cup in the time that he was on that team. Like just the amount of people like this. I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but like that was the Avs sucked when he played there. The Sens were bad. The Blue Jackets made that run to the second round, but they weren't going to contend. The Preds were like most people had a feeling that they weren't going to contend after that Dallas series, and then they lost. They kept losing, and they lost in the bubble. And if you didn't think by that time that there was a problem, then you should have. And then everybody's freaking out that Matt Duchene's like, yeah, I get a real chance to win here, or whatever he said. It was actually, I think, less. It was not as bad as saying I get a real chance to win here. Like, you're being outraged for no reason. Like,
it's just so funny because it's a lot of folks online who saw the they latched on the idea that he was a problem in the locker room, and then it was like, oh, here's this apple. Like, here's this apple I can take and just be like, it's just dangling right here for me. Let me run with this. This is clearly what Barry Trotz was talking about. And it also shows just how much goodwill Barry has right out of the gate here in Nashville, where there's going to be a lot of folks that carry the water of the Preds of any just player departure or anything like that early on in this tenure. It's gonna be like, well, he had to go. Like, clearly there was something else, and you see here, this is an example. This is why he had to go. People are just gonna jump on that. And it's like, and like you said, Jeff, it's not like what he said wasn't bad. Do you want players to be honest, or do you not? Like, do you want players to be just like, hey man, it's just kind of cool to be on a good team for the first time in my professional career that can win the cup? That'll feel nice.
Are you really going to tell me that the Dallas Stars aren't better positioned right now than the Preds were when Matt Duchene joined? Like, really?
I'll tell you right now, it's gonna be Dallas and Minnesota contending for the West next season.
Ooh, spicy predictions.
Okay, it's spicy. Like it's right.
Oh, okay. All right.
I hate it, but it's right.
Well, there you go.
No, I never understood that.
Jeff, is it Glass and Carrier for you too? Is the best offseason moves the Preds have made this year, or to this point since the season ended, or do you have a better one in mind?
I mean, it's hard not to say that. I would say I would argue that, Ryan O'Reilly for different reasons is probably the best one. Like,
what
just from like you bring in Ryan O'Reilly because of guys like Cody Glass. And so you re-sign Cody Glass. Like, that's kind of, I think they're interconnected in a way. So I don't think, you can't have one without the other. But I think Ryan O'Reilly is just going to be really important in these upcoming years. I'm still not a fan of giving Ryan. I will maintain that I don't like giving Ryan O'Reilly, 32-year-old Ryan O'Reilly, 4 years. But, he plays a different style of game, to the point where I'm not like super worried about him deteriorating over the next 4 years as much as I would be a guy like Patrick Kane. But I think he's going to be really important. And I thought his introductory press conference, some of the quotes that I read there were just great. And then the video that he did for the Preds social media, that was great. He I tweeted, I was like, this is probably the best introduction social media post a player has ever done, simply because he's like, it's short. It was like 11 seconds or something. And he was like, what's up, Nashville? Super excited to be part of the team. Let's go kick some ass. And then he just popped his tooth out and then he put it back in seamlessly. It was like, oh, okay, this is great. Like, he's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And he's going to be good, to have in the locker room. Like, I think, ignoring the contract, in a vacuum, is a really good move, and I'm a fan of it.
I like it. Biggest head scratching move for you this offseason, Bryan? Since the season ended, what has been the biggest one you've just thought, I still just don't understand why the Preds did this?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because I'm trying to avoid things that we've talked about here on the show. I know if I say a certain defenseman's name, Jeff will get very upset. But yeah, Luke Schenn would be probably one of them. But I'm going to say, actually, you know what? No, I do know what I'm going to say with this one. The biggest head scratcher is that Nashville did not go out and go sign Evan Rodrigues. That's my biggest head scratcher right there. For the deal he got and the production he provides. So the quest continues. I've got 3 years now I've got to wait, but trade season's always around the corner, so you never know.
Why do you want Evan Rodrigues so much, and why would he have made even more sense this time around?
I think that he has I think he's an underrated skater. I really like the way that he can maneuver with the puck. I think that he is extremely underrated at creating chances and generating offense. I think that his defense is slightly underrated for what he does. He's a younger guy who really didn't get it. He's one of those players where you see where they had something, but the teams that were, the teams he were on did not have the patience. And every year that he has, since Pittsburgh, right? He has gotten better. And he's just one of those guys that could have been gotten at a cheap deal. He's just one of those ones where I kind of started watching stuff on him and I'm just like, oh, I really like watching this dude play. And part of it's just because it's the brand, but there's always a guy that's like a free agent. I'd really work myself up into talking myself into it. And then it doesn't happen. Either signing Luke Schenn to 3 years, after 3 years, he'll be 36, which when you're 36, I mean, useless at that point. Right.
I mean, we're inching. Yeah, that's it.
You're inching there. I've been there. So, you look at it. I think the thing that's really funny about that too is you look at like the defense core right now as it stands. You got Roman Josi and Dante Fabro and Alex Carrier, cool, and then Ryan McDonough, Tyson Barrie, Luke Schenn, and Jeremy Lauzon, and you're kind of like, Nashville's not quite the defense team right now, and that's okay. It's the old dude thing. Dante Fabro is the youngest defenseman right now, currently on the Preds roster at 25. Wow. The four players are over the age of 30. So that's fun. But yeah, I mean, the Luke Schenn one is just weird. Like, it's kind of the same thing with Gustav Nyquist. They're not. I don't think that awful signing's kind of in a vacuum, but the term and the cap hit are kind of, baffling, but you kind of do what you got to do at this point, just trying to fill a team, trying to field something that can play out there. So
yeah, I wonder too, based on where he ended up in Florida, do you think that was a better schematic group and team to sign up for than the Preds, or do you think with the new head coach coming in here in Nashville that he actually would have been a better fit here?
I think you could probably say that he would have been a better fit at X team rather than Nashville right now, with a handful of exceptions, just because a player like that's young, he's going to go on a cheap deal. And so he's going to be able to be more attractive to teams that are competitive and looking to add that type of depth. So yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, I'm kind of surprised some of the guys signed in Nashville, that they did sign, just because what you're getting into at this point.
A winner.
Yeah.
Jeff, who is your biggest head scratching move since the season ended?
I mean, Luke Schenn. I still don't understand that one, but I mean, I think another one, I think another one would be buying out Matt Duchene. Like I'm still, I'm not around in a a daily kind of way, obviously, but like from an outside perspective, paying him as much money as they're going to pay him over the next 6 years to not play for them when he was perfectly effective in his role. Was he an $8 million player? No, he was never an $8 million player. He was never going to be an $8 million player. And I think once people accepted that, they would be able to kind of see that he was actually good for the kind of he was in a system that didn't really combine with his abilities. And now that Andrew Brunette is here, I was really looking forward to seeing Matt Duchene in an Andrew Brunette system. And now he's just gone and he's playing for $3 million in the same division. So I just, I don't get it. Alex Daugherty of Penalty Box Radio tweets something about, paying for culture. And I think that's kind of a big thing. Like, I don't think you should do that. And Alex said that too. He was, he tweeted something about it, but yeah, I think I really don't think Matt Duchene was a culture problem. I can see him being complacent, I'm sure Ryan Johansson was complacent, but I'm not buying into him being a culture problem just with Nashville, just in general. But I don't know. I feel like there's, I don't think you should buy out Matt Duchene because he's complacent. I
I have a
can't
question.
say I agree with that.
If Barry Trotz is not the GM and it's not a former coach running this front office now, and they hire Kyle Dubas, and he's not in Pittsburgh and he's the new Nashville GM, do you think he even entertains the idea of just biting the bullet and buying out Matt Duchene at all?
I think he actually might.
Huh.
Yeah, he probably would.
I think he would.
But I don't like.
I think this.
I guess would he execute on it though? I don't know if he would. Like
at the heart of it is it was more a business decision more than anything, just because of the fact that yes, they're paying for all these years for the buyout, but like the trade clause, no trade clause, which to be fair to Barry Trotz, those were clauses that were not put into Duchene's contract by him, obviously. And it was just a thing, like they weren't going to get anybody to come and want to trade for him, anything like that. And I can understand it, but I think it just sucks that it had to get to that, I will say I do have one other thing I've thought about this one for a while, but another thing is I'm not quite sure why Nashville at pick number 15 didn't run up there and snag Oliver Moore.
Yes. Thank you, Bryan.
I
love
like
Matthew Wood. He was great.
I love Wood.
Did you watch him in the Prospects game?
Yeah, I've gone back and watched a little bit, but
he was phenomenal. He was great,
and I'd love to see him. I would have loved to see him. Now that knowing that he's in Chicago, really
the Blackhawks
hurts.
Had one of the best first rounds I think I've ever seen a team have.
Well, they deserved it. They've earned it, right?
Yeah, you know that. You know it. There's no better example of the NHL right there.
It felt like the good old days, because I had a Chicago fan in my mentions a couple days ago, just getting real offended over nothing and not being able to, read words that I was actually saying. So that was fun.
Those are always fun. It's one of the best parts of social media.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bryan, we do know that you don't support a lot of the things that you say you support. You're a lying journalist on Twitter.
I am a lying journalist. It's the best.
This is part of capitalism.
Oh man, Bryan, what is the next big domino to drop for the team this summer? What do you think is the next big thing for Nashville that they're going to have to go down? And it might not be this summer. What do you think is just the next big domino that hits or that just drops in Nashville?
Oh, okay, I got this one. It's going to be figuring out who the next coach of the Milwaukee Admirals is.
Oh,
nothing's changed yet. So that be it Karl Taylor. Shout out my friends over at the Calder Farmstead. Sarah and Sean did a great award show, which was really cool. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube, Calder Farmstead. And the cool thing was they did their awards and had almost everybody who won the awards come on their show. So I had Alex Pierre-Boulet came on. Dustin Wolf didn't, even though Askarov was not even nominated for best AHL goaltender, which I understand, but I did give them crap for it. And Karl Taylor was there. They gave him the best coaching staff, and it's right. He did hands down. I don't think there was any. It wasn't even close that Karl Taylor and what his staff did this season. You look at what Nashville did and how they kind of almost managed to sneak into the playoffs given their roster turnover. But you look at Milwaukee, where that's where Nashville was getting all their players from, and they were replacing them with guys on ATOs, and they still managed to get what they were doing. And so it's surprising that we haven't heard really any chatter about. I think there was I can't remember which team it was. I think there was some rumors maybe a month ago that Karl Taylor might have been a team talked to, but I haven't heard anything. So if it's going to be Karl Taylor, I think it's in their best interest to figure out how they're going to handle that. Knowing that they've got Brunette in, so it's not like Karl Taylor's probably going to have another shot to coach in Nashville for another 3 years. But if not, this is the time where you need someone like Karl Taylor at your AHL affiliate. You've got Atlanta now for the ECHL, which I don't see a ton of guys being down there. It's not going to matter too much, I think, in the near future. But you need to make sure that your development pipeline is solid, because I think the thing that's plagued Nashville for almost all of their existence is that, especially on the forward side, is their forward development has been just very weak. You get guys if you go and look at all the most productive and successful forwards in Nashville history, they've all been players that have been acquired via trade. Philip Forsberg, all these guys, Ryan Johansson, all of those players, Matt Duchene, I think like the best, like the most prolific, like forward that was drafted, I think right now on the team is Colton Sisson. So, it's going to be very, very important, and it's gotten a lot better. Credit to John Hines. I think the development for forwards since Hines took over took a pretty big leap, and I'm not going to attribute that all to what he has done, but I think something kind of turned. But it's going to be important now because you can't mess around now. There's no taking your time or giving guys extra years to cook. Like this is the time where these young guys and their development is in Milwaukee is going to matter because they've got a very good organization there. They are a successful franchise. They're a great franchise. They've got great coaches. They just hired a new goaltending coach, which again, Nashville fans will probably pay attention to because this is the guy that's going to be spending all the time with Nashville's goalie of the future. So yeah, who is behind the bench in Milwaukee is going to be more important to the Nashville Predators organization than most people think. And so figuring out what that's going to look like going forward is probably going to be the biggest thing for them to do this summer.
That's interesting. I mean, what are the odds that he joins the staff, the NHL staff?
Probably 0.
Okay.
I wouldn't leave that. I'm not leaving that job as a head coach in Milwaukee to go be an assistant. He's already been an assistant in the NHL with Dallas. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he's going to be coming to the NHL, it's going to be as the head coach, I think.
Jeff, what about you? What is the next big domino for Nashville that you think drops for them?
Well, it's kind of in the same vein a little bit. I was just going to say like filling out the NHL coaching staff. I think, there's some roster things that they have to figure out. Is Dennis Gurianov going to take over for Phil Tomasino? But let
me tell you, Jeff has been on one this last week and a half or so, and it's been very entertaining to watch.
It's been a fun week. Fun week. I feel bad a little bit because I know that I shouldn't really be doing that, but also I don't know what we're doing here. But yeah, I think this coaching staff is really important, and there's guys that need developing from this coaching staff, like the one that they got in Milwaukee. And so, like Bryan said, I don't think Karl Taylor is going to come up and be part of I think it'd be great if he did, but I don't see it happening. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't know exactly how many spots they have to fill, and I know they kept some coaches around. I know Dan Heine is sticking around for one, but yeah, I think just kind of announcing to the public what the coaching staff is going to look like for the next year and the foreseeable future.
I like it. Favorite, this is a not Preds question. This is a just in general.
I've got an answer to it.
I'm very curious.
Same here.
You go
Favorite
first, Jeff.
NHL offseason move thus far, Brian Bastin.
I'm gonna let Jeff do this one first.
Okay, Jeff, go first.
I bet you has a better
answer. The
Preds
signing Denise Gurianov. I think DeBrincat going to the Red Wings. That'd be mine. I think that Stevie Y is really good at his job, and he got Alex DeBrincat for not much. Yeah. So that would be my answer to that. Best offseason move. Especially from like a marketing standpoint too. Like Alex DeBrincat's a big name. Like he's a 2-time 40-goal scorer, played with Patrick Kane. Like this, people know who he is. He's not a superstar, but he can put the puck in the back of the net. So
the Wings a playoff team next year or no?
Probably not.
Okay.
I think they'll contend for one. I don't know if they'll get in. It's kind of a crapshoot. The middle of the Atlantic Division is kind of a weird one. You have Ottawa, Detroit, and Buffalo all fighting for playoff spots. So
I think Buffalo takes another step forward next season.
I think they do too.
Brian,
I've got 2, I think.
Okay. Evan Rodrigues to Florida.
Yeah, right. DeBrincat is a good answer. I think one of the best undervalue or the underrated pickup was Columbus getting Damon Severson for not very was a 3rd round pick. I know they signed him to a 6.2. Yeah, it was like 6.2, and I think he got it for full 8 years. I think it was a sign and trade, but he's going to be good for a while, and I think he's going to be an anchor. Will he make a difference and make the Blue Jackets better? probably not, but
Not
I just
demonstrably.
nah,
Please.
good word. The
Thank
other
you.
thing is we saw NHL history made yesterday, and I couldn't be happier for a guy who nobody deserves it more than this guy. As Tony DeAngelo became the first player in NHL history to get bought out twice in his career, which is it's good. I mean, he's got role models, and much like a guy that he admires a lot, he's gotten gotten in trouble and kicked out of his job twice, like somebody else. So yeah. I do now. I'm worried that I've said this, and he just cleared waivers this morning, so I am a little bit nervous. But yeah, no, I'm
Don't
not.
do it, Barry.
What
do
are
it,
the odds?
Barry.
There's no way, right?
There's no way. Their
I don't think
defense is
so.
too full. I just don't. You're trying to play him. You already have Tyson Barrie. There's no reason to go get another more offensively focused defenseman. You have, let's see, we talked about
He's
the
not even
7
offensively
guys.
focused anymore.
No, he just sucks. He's just bad. Like he's
Yeah.
just a bad hockey player.
I mean, he might be good. I'll say this one. He might be good if in the unique situation that if in early January Nashville has to go play at the Capitals. I think that DeAngelo probably has a lot of experience in Washington DC in early January, so it'd probably be a great fit. But other than that, no.
Oh my god. You want to talk about underrated moves? I just thought of this one, but they in speaking of Damon Severson, I was thinking of the Devils getting Colin Miller from the Stars for like a 5th round pick or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like I'm a big fan of that one. I love Colin Miller. I think he's good. And I think that the Devils, like, I think their defense core could really use him because they're gonna have Hughes, they're gonna have probably Nemec, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
They're gonna have Marino. Graves is gone. Like, there's some big changes happening with that defense core, and I've been a fan of Colin Miller since Vegas. He's been really good. So, yeah, I think that's a good one, a good underrated one.
There you go. Where will Andrew Brunette rank among all the new head coaches in this cycle? Do you think he'll end up being the best hire? Where do you think he'll rank?
Well, he'll be better than, let's see here. Gosh, I'm looking at all the new ones. So I guess we're starting with, oh gosh. So there's I'm going to say he's definitely going to be a better hire than Mike Babcock for Columbus for a majority of reasons. I think that even though he's not going to probably have the same amount of success in his first year or two, I think he's going to prove to be a better coach than the head coach of the New York Rangers, Peter Laviolette. I don't know much about Ryan Huska, so I'm going to leave that one to you, Jeff. But I know that you guys pretty much you like that.
Yeah,
pickup
I mean
him.
the Husky one was weird because like I think he'll be a good coach. I don't think there's any. I mean, from what I've heard and read about what players think of him, they like him and they like what he can deliver. But a lot of fans were looking forward to Mitch Love being the next head coach. He was 2-time AHL Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
He's coached that Wranglers team to some pretty good playoff runs, but he went and joined the Capitals staff under Spencer Carberry, so that was out of the picture.
Speaking of Carberry, I would say Brunette was probably the second best hire of this go around, and it's actually funny that we brought that up because I'm going to be talking with somebody who has a show about Calgary. I'm talking about where Nashville and Calgary are in their rebuilding process, and I think it's an interesting parallel that both teams had a excellent AHL coach that they passed over. So that's interesting.
It makes my job easier when both franchises are literally like this. Like they're just in the exact same spot.
I'm going to argue that Nashville is in a much better position.
No, I know. Yeah, it's just like last year. I mean, they were both. They weren't great. Like they missed the playoffs. Like they were not. They're kind of both in that weird land where the only difference is Nashville committed to something. Calgary still has not committed to something.
I mean, for me, it feels like Nashville was the car that you've had like since high school. It's been on its last legs from the moment you owned it. And you kept pushing. You're like, I'm not going to get a new car. This thing still runs. And eventually you're just driving the highway. You feel it slow down and you just slowly roll to a stop on the side of the interstate. And you're like, ah, damn it. Calgary kind of feels like you went and got something. You got a used car. You took it out on the road for a little bit and then it just burst into flames. I mean, that's funny too. It's flames. But it was a lot more chaotic and a little more dumpster fiery in my view.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say
I think in terms of success, they've been kind of the same. Like other than 2017, like Michael Backlund hasn't been out of the like second round in his entire career, and he's played on the Flames for 15 years. So, that's they're weirdly kind of even in that way. They just kind of have taken different directions in how they've gone about things, and now they're kind of in the same spot, but one's committed to something and the other is kind of still in limbo, waiting for guys to commit to the team. They have some young players that are in the pipeline, but they're not fully ready to bring them up. Like Dustin Wolf doesn't have a full spot yet for some reason. I mean, I get it.
Will.
He's waiver exempt next year, and so they're gonna try. I guess they're gonna try and resurrect Dan Vladar or something. But I'm not fully on board with that. But yeah, I just think that there's weird parallels that can happen between the two.
There you go. Final question for you guys, and it's a mailbag question from Bryan to Jeff.
Yeah, before I answer mine, because I've got my answers written up, but I'm going to hit you with a few real quick, kind of quickly, and see what you want to think. So I did say that I asked for some mailbag questions, which that tweet's still up. You can tweet at me. I said that you can give me a hockey question and a question about anything. Jeff, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer me like your top 3 rappers from like the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah,
but
probably not.
Yeah, we just talked about you going to Vineyard Vines, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that one. Okay, quick answer. Don't think too much. By the end of the season, who do you think has a breakout season or / is the offensive MVP, not including Philip Forsberg?
Ooh, I'm scanning through the forward group. I mean, I think I want to say Luke Evangelista, but I have a weird feeling that he's not going to be as good as a lot of people think he will be next year. Other than Philip Forsberg, let's see.
Haven't said my answer, but I'm not going to say it until that comes out.
Well, it's weird because I'm thinking everybody's gone. There's no Matt Duchene. There's no Ryan Johansson. There's no Gus Nyquist isn't going to have that. Ryan O'Reilly's not going to have that. Philip Tomasino. I'm going for it.
Okay, I like that. That's a good answer. Okay. Does Saros get traded before the end of the season?
No.
Okay. The follow-up to that is House Cats are they a real person?
To my knowledge, yes. But there's
I have insider information.
I have my doubts. But I think he is.
I told him this. I still think he is the premier Nashville Twitter hockey poster.
Yes.
I think 100%. By far. So
yeah.
Okay, I think one of these questions were one that Chase asked, so I'm going to skip that one just on what's the next move. Let's see here. Which young player will be the odd man out and most likely find himself in Milwaukee at the start of the season?
Igor Afanasyev.
Yeah, I think that's, again, we love you, Igor. Like,
I know.
You're our boy.
I hate to say it, like, because it sucks because he could be. That's why I don't understand the Gurianov signing, is because he could be that.
Yeah.
Like, or well, I mean, I get it. Gurianov's a good player. I mean, he's okay. He scored 20 goals once, but like, I think Igor could be a very solid NHL player at this point in his career, and he's just hasn't really gotten the shot yet.
Okay, last one. This is a question that I have. This is something that bothered me for a full week. So I couldn't figure out when I saw Ryan O'Reilly give his press conference who he reminded me of, as like a famous person he reminded me of. And the first thing that I got was like, and it's not the right answer, but I said he kind of looks like an older James Vanderbeek a little bit. But then I had somebody tell me it's like a mix of him and Bradley Cooper, and that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Who does he remind you of? Because it still bothers me. And it's like, I feel like it's somebody that's like right there, and I'm gonna be like, oh, when I see it, but I can't figure it out.
Who does he remind me of? Oh, I don't know. Bradley Cooper's a good answer.
Okay, good.
I like that one. I think I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Like Rocket Raccoon Bradley Cooper, right?
Yeah,
Popping his tooth out and
I
stuff.
mean, he's a little bit Chris Evans ish. Not a ton, but I can kind of see it. The
So
smile is. I think the smile is kind of what gets me. Not with the teeth in, not the.
Yeah, so
not
he's
the-
Dawson and then two of the Avengers. So all right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. I would take those comparisons any day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I got. I can't spoil the rest of them because you got good answers though, and I will address them and if necessary roast them in my article now that I've got your answers first.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, but
by all means.
Chase, actually, I don't want to leave you out. We're almost done. Give me your top 3 rappers all time. Just for you personally. You don't have to be skill based or like your actual thing. Just your favorite 3.
Are we doing? I could do favorite rappers of all time.
Yeah, but no, this is our host. We got to take care of him. You get the
No,
hard
I know,
ones.
but I'm just saying I could have done that. All right, go ahead, Chase.
Outkast, I'm combining because I could put on like it's Andre and Big Boy. Like you can't have one without the other to me. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit and say Outkast. I was at their last concert ever at Last in Centennial Park back in 2015, which was an awesome show. So I would say them first. At like 11 p.m. when you're waiting and then bombs over Baghdad, the lights start flashing and you just hear the beginning part of that song and they come out. It's just one of the all-time best moments. So I would definitely lean Outkast. I like a lot of old Big Crit. I really liked. So
nice.
I really like him.
Jeez.
Yeah. He's really good. And then still probably just based on my all-time history, like what I've listened to, he's probably got to be in there, but still probably Lupe Fiasco is probably somewhere. Like I just have my catalog for him, and I've probably listened to The Cool an insane amount of time in my life. So I would probably say those are my top 3.
Chase, my boy, like not answers I was expecting. Like I could have guessed maybe you would say Outkast. I mean, you know, yeah, I could have guessed, but Big Crit, like,
yeah.
I am, man.
Hometown Hero is a jam.
It really is. Yeah. I'm going to make sure just because of that. Wow. Everybody
bought my way to heaven, but I blew it on my neck.
Mm-hmm. Make sure y'all are subscribed to the Chase Thomas podcast. You can find shows every day of the week. Multiple, got a brand new website. He had 2 expert graphic designers help him with his new graphics this last week to make sure that everything popped. But now that I know that Chase also has excellent taste in music, I mean, yeah, actually, I really mean it this time. You should watch the Preds Power Hour more often now.
Yeah,
but it's I'm very happy. You've made me very happy this day, Chase. I never thought I'd hear you say the words Big Crit. That's makes me very happy.
Yeah. Some stack that cheese. Mother, sister, cousin, stack that cheese. Couldn't think of nothing. Stack that cheese. Tip Hop saved my life. Lupe Fiasco. There you go, folks. Jeff, where can the good folks check out your work this week? Flames Nation, Renegades of Puck. What can the good folks check out from you there?
So we got Pinstripe Alley, a little baseball happening. Trade deadline's coming up. Wrote about Juan Soto and also have another trade target post coming out soon. And then for Flames Nation, just kind of doing offseason stuff, analyzing an interview that Michael Backlund had with a Swedish journalist, and kind of going into what he talked about there. Talked about Daryl Sutter, talked about his future with the Flames and whether or not he's going to come back and what is kind of factoring into that decision, including Ryan Huska. And another one on kind of his feelings about Jonathan Huberdeau's season last year. Also an interview that Nazem Kadri did that talked about kind of how excited he is to be in Calgary and how excited he is to have had this offseason to kind of rejuvenate and, you know, have things kind of change over and stuff like that. And some other stuff in the works that I can't talk about just yet, but
why not?
I can't. I want to get it official yet.
Okay.
I want to get it official and then I'll talk about it.
Big things coming for Jeff.
Big things coming. Yeah.
There you go. Bryan, what about you and the team over at ontheforecheck.com this week?
I am hopefully we'll have this mailbag out on Monday. I've got a couple other things that have been going on, but I'm kind of enjoying having an off season now, a little bit. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next week or so, because I don't know. I can't tell if this is going to be a week where absolutely nothing happens or Nashville does a bunch of stuff. It's always a toss up. I like the direction they're going. I see a lot of the cool things surrounding the area. I think they just opened the arena, the new arena they built, the new ice rink.
Fort Ice in like Clarksville or whatever.
Clarksville, that's cool.
Yeah.
You had the announcement with TSU and the agreement with that, which is so cool. TSU is going to be the first HBCU to have a hockey program, and they're wanting to move and get to D1, which is awesome. I think that's going to be a really cool thing, and I'm really happy that the Predators are involved with that. The Predators as an organization have come a long way in the short time that I've covered this team, and it's been really great to not see them on the wrong side of a lot of these types of things. And credit to them and the organization. Just it's been nice, and they've been doing things and being supportive of things. We saw Roman Yossi, downtown at Pride last month. It's nice. It's nice to see that the people getting out there helping with community outreach, things like that, especially when you help out with an organization like with what TSU is trying to do, and that it shows how important having the support of like the NHL or an NHL team, when they're not obligated to support you, but you look at what's happened to the PHF and what's happened there, and the NHL talking about how they weren't going to step in to help unless there was just one league, and they've never done anything like that. And you see that now all of a sudden there are 6 PHF teams that just cease to exist. And it's hard to do that, and that's why things like the Predators supporting TSU and what they're doing with hockey is so important, because everybody needs help. Nashville needed help for a long time to become the organization that they are now, coming from an expansion team. And it's important that you are supporting hockey at all levels, no matter who's playing it. And I'm very happy to see that Nashville has done that to do something truly historic with what Tennessee State's doing. So
there you go. Bryan Bastin, Jeff Middleton, always a pleasure, and I will talk to y'all next week.
Well done, nephew. Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.